Great to have your company on the AFL Grand Final show of the Sports Desk. Huge show ahead. Let's dive straight into it. Matilda McDermott making your debut on an AFL Grand Final show on the Sports Desk. Welcome. Great to have you.
Thank you. It's been good to be here.
Jerry, you were lucky enough to do a one-on-one interview with former AFLW North Melbourne Premiership captain Emma Carney. How did that go?
Yeah, that went amazing. She gave a really good interview and really enjoyed the interview.
And our man, Justin Swartz, obviously if you weren't tuning in last year, you did have a bit of a makeup debacle. We had a small amount of makeup available and pretty much you stole it all and you made myself and guys like Jack Huggett pretty pasty. And it's my understanding as we sit here tonight that you've done it again.
Almost as dusty as St Kilda's trophy cabinet, that joke. It's been sitting around, you haven't opened it since the 60s, so waited a whole year to make it again and it wasn't worth it.
I'm getting something from my producer that we've actually got some evidence. Matilda, have you got...
I do.
What's this?
This is yours, Justin.
Why's it over there?
Stole it from me. Seriously.
I didn't steal anything.
What
I
is
only
it?
had time to do mine. No one else here has makeup on.
No, I don't have any on.
Let's open it up. What have we got in here? Did you get one of those Mecca packs? Was it a good one, a bad one?
Oh my God. $70 moisturiser,
Oh.
Justin. Come on. Come on. Seriously. I see some teeth whitening as well.
Oh.
God.
Chompers.
Anything else? No?
I think that's it. It's always
And Jack
stolen from me.
Huggett, great to have you here.
Yeah, it's
You're a
always good to
Cats
be
fan. I have seen you go to the toilet multiple times. Are you okay? You're a little bit nervous.
It's a bit stressful at this time of year, especially when your team makes it. We'll see how we go coming this week. Yeah.
But I love the buzz around Grand Final week. Each year you've got the footy festival, Matilda, you've got the parade, school holidays, kids are having fun. Gotta love it.
Yeah, on my way in, I saw on the train, going past the MCG, and I saw a bunch of Geelong fans arm in arm skipping, so I think they're pretty happy they've made it. But yeah, the buzz around the city is absolutely incredible, and I love it every single year it comes around.
Jerry, you look like a Snoop Dogg fan yourself. Are you happy with the pre-game entertainment?
Yeah, well, we had Katy Perry last year and now we have Snoop Dogg. I think it's great to have him on and he should do a good job.
Snoop Dogg, Justin?
Love it. It's been a big 2 weeks in Melbourne with the prelim having 3 Melbourne teams and both being played at the MCG. I love it. And I did hear that you had a holiday booked, Liam, because St Kilda never appear in September.
Oh, yeah, I'm off skiing. So, no. And our man, Tanish Prabhu, fellow Sports Desk presenter, went to the footy festival the other day and caught the vibe around the MCG. Let's take a look.
I'm here with former Brisbane Lions player Jonathan Brown. And Brownie, since you're a Brisbane supporter and former Brisbane player, who do you think is going to be... how many points do you think Brisbane's going to win by?
1 point would be good. Doesn't matter. Just got to win it out there. So it's going to be a tight match, though, I think.
Tight match. And who's one player you're worried about at Geelong that could actually change the game on Saturday?
Always Patrick Dangerfield. Yeah, I think he's the way he played on the weekend was one of the greatest finals performances I've ever seen. So hopefully he doesn't repeat that on the weekend as a Lions supporter. But he's a fantastic player. He had an amazing grand final in 2022. So he's probably the main concern.
And do you think Brisbane can go back-to-back?
Absolutely they can. Yeah, they're in the grand final. So they're going to learn a lot from that loss against Geelong 3 weeks ago in the qualifying final. Fingers crossed they can do it. And
Lockie Neal's back in for the grand final. That's a big win for Brisbane. How do you think he's going to go in the grand final?
He'll be fine. Yeah, absolutely. He's a professional. He's trained really well during the week and he'll get out there and play and hopefully help the boys win.
Who do you think's going to win the AFL Grand Final?
I hope it's Brisbane, mate. Hopefully Brisbane get the win. And I realistically think they can win. I know they lost to Geelong 2 weeks ago and then earlier in the year, I think, as well. But third time's a charm, eh?
Yeah, are you a Brisbane fan yourself?
No, Saints fan, but obviously. But this week I'm a die-hard Brisbane fanatic because I hate Geelong so much.
Yeah, and do you have tickets to the AFL Grand Final?
No.
How many points do you think Brisbane's going to win by since you're supporting Brisbane in the Grand Final?
Yeah, in the Grand Final, I want to stress that enough. 5 points, I reckon.
Do you have tickets to the Grand Final?
No, I do not, but I'm trying to get some.
Who are you guys supporting on Saturday?
Geelong.
And how many points do you think Geelong's going to win on Saturday?
Over 20 points.
I reckon 40 points.
You guys have tickets for the AFL Grand Final?
No, we don't.
No?
I would like to, but if we can win tickets, it'd be good. But we stayed in Melbourne for 9 nights anyway, so go Geelong.
That's good. And are you guys enjoying the festival?
Yes, we
Loving
are.
it. Beautiful weather. I'm a Collingwood supporter. My partner's Hawthorn, but I'm here to support Geelong today.
Who's the one player you're most scared of at Geelong or at Brisbane?
Or Jeremy Cameron. Holmes or Dunkley.
Dangerfield.
Do you have your tickets for the Grand Final?
No, I don't.
Who do you think's going to win the Grand Final, Geelong or Brisbane?
Brisbane.
And by how many points?
17.
So, Tom, who do you think's going to win the Grand Final?
I think the Cats have got it.
And who do you think's going to win Norm Smith?
Sam DeConing, I reckon.
And how do you think you're going to go in at St Kilda next year?
Yeah, see what happens, but looking forward to whatever happens, and just going to give it my all, and that's all I can do.
TDK gave Tanish, our man, absolutely donuts there. He treated him with absolute disdain. Love to see it. Let's speak about the Brownlow medal, and congratulations to Gold Coast star Matthew Rowell on winning his first Brownlow medal with 39 votes, as you can see on here. Nick Dacos second place with 32, and Bailey Smith with 29 in his first year at the category. Thoughts on this one, Jack? I think he was pretty deserved All-Australian.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fantastic year for so many of those players up there. You could probably argue there's a bit of controversy around over-polling over the last couple of years, especially with Matthew Rowell. But I think we're seeing now that there's a certain type of player nowadays that just earns more votes, and those big-bodied clearance midfielders that seem to get the clearances and also a lot of pressure acts at the centre of the ground.
Gee, Justin, Nick Dacos, pretty unlucky there.
Yeah, like Jack said, I mean, Matt Rowell's the clearance king. He's a tackling machine. He loves to get a contested possession. So the umpires are obviously always at the stoppages. They're going to see that. But yeah, it's going to be a real disservice to an amazing player like Nick Dacos if he continues to come second in this. But look, he's a fantastic player. He's come second 3 years in a row, and he's only been in the AFL for a handful of years. So watch out for the rest of the competition.
Well said, and there were quite a few snubs, including Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira in his match-winning knock. 4 goals, 34 disposals. Got the 2 votes. I cannot believe it. Jack Viney with a lazy 1 goal and 23 disposals with the 3. Jerry, what is going on here?
Yeah, I thought that was very stiff, and Andrew Dillon said on the agenda setters that they should have a look at the votes in the future of the umpires. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think it might be time to remove the umpires from the voting process, Matilda. I think it's a joke now.
They do see more than we see on the field, on the ground. So, I think it's still all right. Obviously, there are some chats about stats, them being able to look at stats afterwards, but I think that would take away from overall performance in the game because they are on the ground. They will see more than we see, and they see the little things as well. So, yeah, I think I like it. I don't think it should change, but who knows?
Andrew Dillon said they didn't want the stats. So you can't help people that don't want to be helped eventually.
Exactly.
All right, hot start on the AFL Grand Final show of the Sports Desk. When we come back, we'll be analysing the season that was in 2025. That's next. AFL Grand Final show of the Sports Desk as we welcome fellow presenter Ella Zammit. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
It was a great season, wasn't it? 2025.
It really was, yeah. Very, very interesting. Yeah, one of the best.
And now we're going to have a look at our games of the year. We'll start with you, Jerry. You've got the new ball. You're not great with the new ball, but you've got it today. What have you got for us?
Yeah, so round 22, Fremantle defeated Port Adelaide by 6 points. I thought it was an interesting game considering Freo kicked the first 4 and then Port Adelaide charged back. Alex Pearce, the captain of Fremantle, kicked a late winner to win by 6 points, and I thought Murphy Reid, Rising Star, was incredible. Kicked 2 crucial goals in that third quarter, and also Patrick Voss had a massive year, kicked 2 goals in that fourth term as well to lead him over the line.
What a mark there from Pearce, going down, up forward. That was unbelievable. Was it a pass mark for Fremantle this year?
I think just because purely they haven't made finals in a few years, I'd pass them. But next year, they expect greater heights, for sure.
Matilda, your game of the year?
Yeah, it's the first round, Richmond v Carlton. I think a lot of people had written off Richmond for the season. They're not going to win one. We came out and we won the first game. 8 goals down at some point, and then we had our debutant, Sam Lawler, kick one as well. It was an absolutely amazing game. And one where, I think it set the tone for the rest of the Richmond season. They're not going to go winless.
I thought they were.
Yeah. I remember listening to that, not very happy about it. But yeah, they went off to get 5 wins for the season, which is incredible and definitely exceeded expectations. So it definitely set the benchmark for the rest of the season for Richmond.
Got to talk about the backflip as well.
Seth Campbell backflip.
Seth Campbell.
Yeah, a lot of the young guys getting a good kick throughout the season. So I'm very excited to see where Richmond go after this.
My game of the year was the Saints and their massive 46-point comeback in the last quarter to defeat the Demons. And Nasiah Wanganeen-Melita got 2 votes, so who cares about that? But 4 goals, 34 disposals, kicked 2 goals in the last minute there. He is a star, thank God for St Kilda fans. He re-signed Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've got a lot of money to throw around at St Kilda, don't they?
They do a bit.
we saw Tom de Koning earlier, and he's going to be heading down there too. But yeah, what a game that was. Who would have thought that to get the biggest comeback in AFL history, it was a random late season game between St Kilda and Melbourne, who were both well and truly out of the finals race, but it was a thriller. And yeah, Nasiah, the last sort of 10 rounds of the competition, he was playing as good as anyone. So it was a real thriller.
And it probably costed Simon Goodwin's job, Ella.
Yeah, definitely. I think that might have been the nail in the coffin for him, to be honest. I think Melbourne obviously weren't having a great season. And then when you've got something like that happen with St Kilda, who was kind of on the same level, if not even a bit worse this season, it doesn't look well.
Justin, your game of the year?
Easter Monday Classic, the old enemies. We saw them play a couple of weeks ago, Hawthorn and Geelong, and it was Geelong getting the Chockies by 7 points. It was a fantastic game. Geelong led for most of it, but the Hawks fought back through Sicily and McDonald goals to get it back to level. And then guess who the hero was? Shawnee Manor. We talked about him. It's been a fantastic rise from the VFL to now Geelong. He was fantastic in the final series last year, and now he looks like he could be a hero for them again. Maybe an X factor on Grand Final day, but it wasn't just that. There was a bit of bad blood between these teams. We know they're the rivalry, and Bailey Smith hit Jarman Impey over the head with the footy and gave away a high free kick, and then Connor Nash hit Brian Myers pretty hard and copped 4 weeks for a really, really ugly hit to the head. So, a lot of bruises out of that one, and no one was left unscathed.
Great rivalry there. Ella, can't wait for yours.
Oh, mine is a Hawks game, of course. I've got round 19 against Port Adelaide, kind of a redemption story with this one. 87-49, Hawks beat Port Adelaide by 38 points. I thought that this was kind of meant to happen especially after the prelim final last year, when that whole kerfuffle happened with Ken Hinkley and Jack Ginnivan and that wonderful fine that he got. So, we had Jarman Impey, 3 goals, 26 disposals, 5 tackles, 5 marks. He was an absolute star in that game, alongside Jack Gunston with another 3 goals. I just thought it was a really statement game for us, and I was really happy about it.
Did you get the aeroplane out?
He did. I did.
Did you?
At the Sporting Globe. I was like this in the middle of the... Jack Ginnivan got a good one, which was nice as well.
Let's move on to one of our favourite segments on the Sports Desk, Unpopular Opinions. Jerry, let's not get cancelled tonight. You've got it.
My unpopular opinion is Harry Sheezel's a better player than Nick Dacos, purely based out on effective disposals here. So Harry Sheezel averaged 29.3 disposals this year, but his effective disposal was 21.3, and I think he's more efficient going forward compared to Nick Dacos. I think he blazes away a little bit, so that's just my point of comparison there.
You're clenching at straws there.
I'd just like to say Luke Davies-Uniacke had more Brownlow votes than Harry Sheezel, so he technically, by the umpire's view, wasn't the best player on his own team this year.
Matilda,
Poor Jerry.
What have you got for us?
I reckon the father-son draft should be scrapped. I think it definitely creates unfair dynamics in the draft and kind of shanks it in general, I'm just going to go to the team my dad went to. It's kind of the Nepo draft, isn't it?
Tradition, Matilda.
Tradition,
Tradition, but you're the one that wants to remove
the draw
and get rid of the umpires voting for the Brownlow. Where's the tradition there?
That's true.
Well,
I just think that when it works for a team, and when it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They usually have to, sell them off like a certain someone that you'll have an unpopular opinion about later.
Oh boy. My unpopular opinion, I'm a little bit nervous for this one, but I believe Carlton player Jack Silvani is the most overrated player in the competition. He's only finished top 10 in a BNF once in his career, and some of the numbers he's been getting floated around St Kilda. He's been going on dates with guys like Craig McRae. I mean, it's all happening. 28 next year, hasn't really nailed down a position. Looks like he's a defender, but hasn't nailed that down, I feel.
Yeah, had a lot of injury, a lot of unluck with injury. And you said Carlton player, but he could be at the Saints next year, mate.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
Yep. I'd have to agree with you though. I think he's not up there in terms that there should be all this media buzz. I think the fact that he's leaving Carlton, and there's sort of a legacy there, that's sort of why there is a buzz, but he's playing like it's just not there.
Justin, your one?
Jeremy Cameron to me, and he's playing on Saturday, so this could be a good call. He's the best player in the AFL right now. I just think with the size that he has, the mobility for a forward, and the fact that he can go and play on the wing, he can play in the midfield, and even on last weekend's prelim, he went and rotated down back. I just think it doesn't get more versatile than that. He's mobile, like I said, he can kick from 50 metres, he's a great user by foot. I just think he's the best player in the AFL and most impactful.
You went pretty safe there.
How was that safe?
I reckon that's a straight back, no run.
I mean, even I like him. So
But what you think he is?
Well, he's
Are you agreeing with me?
a Coleman medalist.
Because that doesn't mean he's the best player in the AFL. Would you call Jesse Hogan the best player in the AFL last year?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, that's why Jeremy Cameron's the best, because of his
Gonna bet
versatile
heater on
impact.
this,
He
guys.
captained the All-Australian team when he's not even the team captain. So I think that says enough about the year he's had.
Ella, yours?
Mine is that Adelaide won't go as far as they did this year in 2026. Because I think we know their game plan now. We know how they play. We know their rough style of play and their fast-paced style of play. The only person who hasn't played in a final really their start was Rankin. So he's the only person we haven't seen let his cards out on the table yet. I think people really know how they play now, and kind of the magic's gone from Adelaide. In that
And their
sense.
fitness boss, Darren Burgess, he's gone to Juventus.
Juventus,
so
yeah.
he's probably the best in the business there.
Binned off Essendon just to say I'm going off to Italy.
See you later. Don't blame him, I think.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Let's now have a look at the two powerhouse teams, Geelong and Brisbane, and dissect their year. We'll start with the Cats. 17 wins, 6 losses. And they had a big come-from-behind win against the Crows, Justin.
Yeah, a real shootout at the Adelaide Oval. And the Crows did prove, although Ella's not really on board, that they're not to be messed with this, and especially this season. And they made the Adelaide Oval a fortress. But Patrick Dangerfield, we saw how impactful he was in the finals, but he played forward for a lot of the year. He's still impactful at the clearance. He's still impactful at the stoppage, especially in the centre bounce. But he went forward this game, and as he did for most of the season, kicked 4 goals. Jezza as well kicked 4. They're just dynamic going forward, aren't they?
And the Dash brothers as well. Max Holmes, Bailey Smith, his first year at the club, he's been fantastic, Jerry.
Yeah, just a run-off half-back with Holmes, in top-flight footy again. And then Bailey Smith just looks like a new man at Geelong, and he's showing it clearly with his top-5 Brownlow finish as well.
And their round 11 win against the Bulldogs, that was a big win at home. They're pretty hard to beat, Matilda, at home.
yeah, I think Cardinia Park is definitely one of the hard ones to beat, especially with Geelong there and all their fans. I don't think you'd find any other fans in that crowd, you know. So I think, any team that goes there's definitely a challenge to try and beat Geelong.
Yep, and obviously their Easter Monday win, they love beating the Hawks, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Beat them when it mattered, didn't they? Twice.
All right,
Where's
what
Brisbane,
about...
Justin? Where are they?
Yeah, that's a good point. But, and going back on that Bulldogs game, that was the breakout of Shannon Neal, right? 5 goals in that game. I mean, Jezza took a bit of the spotlight and kicked 6 himself. But when you have threats like Shannon Neal, who can kick a bag, Jeremy Cameron, we know he's going to, and then if Danger can switch forward, it's really a formidable side, isn't it?
It's just the depth, isn't it, between those two teams. Just got so many great players all across the squad. Yeah. What about Brisbane? They finished 3rd with 16 wins and 6 losses. And we'll start off with their win against the Cats in round 3, Ella.
Yeah, they definitely broke a bit of a hoodoo spell that the Cats had over them for a bit. I think it's going into this match, they're going to be pretty well matched since they have bet each other 1-1 this year already. I think Brisbane have an insane midfield. They have a really, really good midfield, and their back line can be really strong as well. So if they can really capitalise on that, then they'll have a good game.
They won a few close wins early on in the season, but second half of the year, just like last year, they really got into gear, including their round 21 win against Collingwood at the G.
Yeah, that was the breakout. We talked about Shannon Neal. Now we'll talk about Logan Morris, who's another young forward who really put himself on the big stage at the MCG, kicking 6. But like Ella said, their midfield is fantastic. They're very strong and they get a lot of goals from there. Obviously, Joe Danaher retired at the end of last year. Eric Hipwood's gone down with a knee injury. Lincoln McCarthy hasn't been healthy. Charlie Cameron hasn't been firing on all cylinders in 2025. So they've had a spread goal kickers list all year. Zach Bailey's been really important. So has Lockie Neal. Dane Zorko drives them through halfback. But guys like Cam Rayner have really stepped up in September.
Absolutely, and their massive win away at Optus, Jerry, against Fremantle, they just absolutely pumped them.
Yeah, that was a confidence-boosting win. Obviously, I thought Jasper Fletcher played incredibly well, 32 touches, and then Zach Bailey, as we mentioned, 2 goals and 28 touches. I think he'll be one of the key matchups to look forward to.
Absolutely. We'll take a break. On the other side of the AFL Grand Final show of the Sports Desk, we'll have a look at Jerry's one-on-one with AFLW North Melbourne Premiership captain Emma Carney. That's next on Channel 31. On the AFL Grand Final show of the Sports Desk, our man Jerry here did a one-on-one with former AFLW North Melbourne Premiership captain Emma Carney. Let's take a look.
Today we've got Emma Carney as our special guest on the Sports Desk Grand Final show. How are you going?
Very good, Jerry. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being on. It means a lot to the Sports Desk. Alumni, or second year for Emma, part of her show, so that means a lot to us. So we might kick things off with the winning streak. So you guys have won 17 games in a row. Do you believe you have the strongest culture in the competition?
I feel like we do have a pretty good culture. We sort of just embrace people for who they are and celebrate the role players in our team. Like, obviously we've got some really solid, stars in the competition that are in our side, but, our team's made up of a really good system that no matter who comes into our side, they can just play a really simple role. And I think that's what's been a big part of our success so far is the fact that, our team's made up of so many different players that play really important roles to making us so good.
100%, yeah. It's all about the players as a whole as well, not just one individual. So that's really important message here, Emma. And Darren Crocker was named the 2024 AFL Coaches Association AFLW Senior Coach of the Year. What makes him so good?
I think it's definitely his relationships with the players. He's like a father figure to so many of us, and he cares. He's one of those coaches that just is so hands-on. Sometimes as your head coach, you allow the assistants or development coaches to do, not so much do all the work, but do a lot of the, the skills works and things like that. He's someone that loves to be on the track with the girls, doing one-on-one sessions, doing one-on-one vision with players that want to do extra work. So I think it's his work ethic plus his relationships that he's able to form with the players that makes him so relatable and so easy to get along with. And then you're probably on top of that, he's just his footy knowledge. Like, he's been in coaching for, half his life now. And the knowledge that he's been able to bring to us as players, the way we're able to play as a team is a huge credit to him and the rest of the coaching team.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about that culture, and Darren essentially drives that, which is really important. I guess, how do you deal with being the hunted this year? Like, what's the narrative? Obviously, the playing group is hungry and pretty strong again this year. What's the key message here?
Yeah, I think partway through last season, we started to become the hunted anyway, because we were going on this undefeated running streak. So I don't think it's changed too much, but we're not really worried about, all these records and things like that. We take each game as it comes. We know that the competition's getting better and each team's getting harder to beat. So for us, it's just about knowing what we need to do to prepare for each team that we come up against. And then after games, it's reviewing it. Sometimes we review games, not that we review them as a loss, but we take out some of the growths, a lot of the growths in the game and ways that we can continue to get better. So we're not always satisfied as a group. We're pretty hungry and humble, and I think that's what is driving us to hopefully continue to, this undefeated streak alive.
I love that key message, Emma, of humility. I think it's a really important message in sports, and yeah, no, it's awesome. And you spoke about other teams contending this year. What are your thoughts on the other teams around you, like your Melbournes, your Brisbanes? How do you approach facing them this year?
Yeah, I mean, we came up against Brisbane just the week gone in the grand final rematch, and it was a tough contest up north. It was hot up there, and they're a very fit and fiery team. So it was a pretty difficult game for us to get through, but we were able to get on top of them, particularly through the second half, which is pleasing. With the W season, it's a difficult one because we don't get to play every team. And so Melbourne's one of those. And they're playing some really good football at the moment. They've got a big injury list, but they're still able to put some wins on the board. And they've been looking really impressive. So I'm sure we'll see them at some stage throughout the year. But yeah, for us, it's just around what can we control throughout this season, what are ways that we can get better, and that'll hopefully put us in really good stead come finals time.
Touch on individually now a bit, Emma. So you're back from injury the past few weeks. How's the body holding up?
Yeah, no, body's been holding up all right. I was my first game back was over in Perth against Fremantle, and the 4-hour ride home wasn't the best for my body. I pulled up a little bit sore, but as I'm just getting used to playing a few more games under my belt, I'm starting to feel a little bit better and pulling up much better. I missed out on a large proportion of pre-season, which probably hasn't helped my fitness, but slowly regaining that match fitness, which was really important.
Yeah, it's really good you're slowly building up that fitness again. Obviously, you should get right for finals time coming up as well, which is really important. I guess if we want to touch on the captaincy, obviously Jazz is now the new captain for North Melbourne. What were your main reasons for opting out of a captaincy this season, Emma?
I probably just one, just personally, just knowing that my career's coming to an end shortly, is to allow someone like Jazz to fill that captaincy void. So it's not just, I'm not going to be just the captain and then leave the club and then all of a sudden someone else has to jump into that role. It's an opportunity for someone like Jazz to take it on, but then I'm also there in the background if she needs it. And then probably more personally, just in terms of just the mental load of being captain, just something I wanted to play with a bit more freedom without having to do all those extra things that go along with being a captain, which has just allowed me just to be freed up a little bit, got more free time, and just probably the mental capacity, like the mental load on my brain has probably allowed me just to be a lot more fresh going into games rather than thinking about all different things.
Yeah, that freedom, as you said, is really important. And I think, yeah, it's great that you can focus more on your footy as well now. Just quickly, what's Jasmine Garner like as a leader? What's she like?
Yeah, Jazz is one of those players that just leads by example. She's really hard trainer. She's one of those players that when, the game's on the line or when you just need someone to spark the team, she's someone that will, grab the team on her shoulders and we want to follow her. She's tough competitor. She's a bit quieter, sort of off field, but she drives really high standards, very personable, develops strong relationships with the playing group and the coaching staff, and just one of the most humble people that you'll meet, given all her individual accolades she's had across her career so far. She's incredibly humble for what she's been able to achieve.
Yeah, 100%. And it's awesome how she's driving the standards day in, day out. And, obviously taking on the reins as captain. Yeah, she's doing such a wonderful job at the moment. Another final one for you, Emma. So what does life after football look like? Obviously, you've had your stint as development coach in the men's AFL program. Do you see yourself coaching the AFLW team or going into an AFL senior coaching role?
I suppose my goal would definitely be into coaching. Head coaching is something that does appeal to me. I'd love an opportunity, but I think for now, like post-career, I'd love to just be a really good assistant coach or a development coach, whatever that looks like within the women's programs. Whether that be at North or another club, who knows? But it's a great way for me to be involved in the game. I love the game. I'm so passionate, particularly around the women's side and where it's headed, and want it to continue to grow and be a really good product. So I feel like I can add a lot of value within a program with my knowledge of the game.
Yeah, 100%. Any club with you will be, greater for it. So just wanted to thank you so much, former AFLW Premiership captain Emma Carney, for joining our Sports Desk Grand Final show. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Jerry.
And we thank Emma Carney for her time. Absolutely. Jerry, she's having a great year.
Yeah, she's had career best numbers, averaging 21 touches for most of her career so far. So incredible season again from Emma Carney.
Absolutely. We'll take a break. On the other side of the AFL Grand Final show on the Sports Desk, it's our massive Grand Final preview. That's next. Back, you're on the AFL Grand Final show of the Sports Desk on Channel 31, and it's time for our favourite part, previewing the massive game between the Geelong Football Club and the Brisbane Lions. Paddy Dangerfield, Jack, he's 35 years of age. He was unbelievable last week in the prelim final.
Yeah, wasn't he just fantastic? He tore the game apart when Geelong needed a leader to stand up, and of course it was their captain. It was just his ability to not just do it up forward where he's been resting most of the year, but also through the middle when the Cats needed a lift to generate clearances, and that's where they dominated and took that game away. It's kind of incredible to see such an old player revert back to their almost Brownlow best. And I think if that Geelong are to get back up against Brisbane this weekend, they really, really need to rely on have a good performance from Dangerfield again. 3
goals, 31 disposals, ground ball beast. If you're Brisbane, how do you stop him?
I think you have to apply a lot of body on him and then try and find a way. You can't just tag him. It's too hard when he can just go up forward as well. That's taking away a player you need in the midfield at times. So I think you just need to try and smother him, get him off the ball as much as possible.
Speaking of tagging, Hugh McCluggage was tagged by Ocean Mullen, kept him to 14 disposals. Do you do that again, Justin?
I think you do. I mean, why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. At the end of the day, 14 disposals in that game, and Brisbane really struggled to get it going forward in the qualifying final, especially, and Hugh McCluggage has been a massive driver for this team going forward, especially in the midfield. And Levi Ashcroft has had to come in with the departure of Lachie Neale due to injury. Now, we'll talk a little bit about Neale later, but whether he comes in or not, a lot will be resting on Hugh McCluggage's shoulders. And I think if Mullen can get to him, that's going to be a real big factor for Brisbane.
They're so planned and their depth is just unbelievable. They've got multiple taggers, including Mark O'Connor. Do you put someone like O'Connor, Jerry, on Zorko?
I think a tag needs to go on Zorko because this season he's averaging 26 touches, 7 marks and 620 metres gained. And if he doesn't get, someone tagging him, I think he's going to break the game open.
Absolutely. And Tom Stewart, unfortunately, misses out with concussion with a rough tackle, it's fair to say, by Marbiel Chol in the prelim final. He's out. Matilda, should we move the pre-finals bye for the grand final?
It's a tough one. I mean, for some teams, it will be beneficial for them. For others, it's better to keep playing and stay in form. It all comes down to what the team is like. I think it's good to have that break, but at the same time, I think it can build up the pressure. Like we're in already. We've got to start training. We've got to start looking at it already. I think by having that game, yes, there's a chance of injury, but at the same time, it's good. I find, yeah.
Jed Hughes, it looks like he'll come back in. Pretty handy inclusion, plenty of experience.
Yeah, especially as a small lockdown defender. Brisbane have a lot of threats up there. Zach Bailey, Charlie Cameron, of course. I think it'll be an interesting one to see if they roll out Stanley as well or Bet Hughes. For me, I'd probably lean Stanley more, but there is the risk of the hamstring injury. We know that these teams like to be precautious as well.
Absolutely. And what about the young guns up forward for Brisbane? Ty Gallop, he's played 5 games so far. He had a really good prelim final. And what about Logan Morris? 52 goals, Justin. He is a star.
He is, yeah. He's had an outstanding year up forward for Brisbane. In a year where there was a little bit uncertainty with Hipwood maybe not producing at the way you'd want and then going down with an injury, unfortunately. He's just been a calamity up forward, I think.
And they've been so resilient. So many big key, players for Brisbane that have gone down. Danaher they lost. Hipwood, as you just said, Jack Payne. Just their depth. It's just uncomparable if you're comparing it to Richmond or North Melbourne.
St Kilda?
St Kilda's right.
Oh, we're getting there.
Liam, come on.
Well, I think Charlie Cameron, he's the one that I look at. He's had a really, really quiet standard in terms of Charlie Cameron levels. Is he going to have a big role on Saturday?
You'd hope so. I think he was pretty good on the weekend in the prelim final, but he's had a pretty lean year. But hopefully he can start to rev up that motorbike in the biggest game of all. I mean, it doesn't really matter if he's had a quiet year. If he performs on Saturday, I mean, no problem.
It's worth it all, isn't it?
Absolutely. Lachie Neale, Jerry, he's been out for a couple of weeks with a calf injury in that qualifying final against Geelong. Looks like he's likely to play. Do you play him as a sub or first bounce?
I'd put him first bounce because he's got that grand final experience. He's one of their main leaders and the driving factors in that midfield, so I think we should chuck him straight into it.
So he was given a small chance about a week and a half ago, but looking very likely that he will play. Is this a big risk, Matilda?
I mean, it's good to have experience in that side. He's definitely a leader within the team, so I think there is risk in that you're kind of denying a more healthier player from being able to play. But at the same time, he's got finals experience. He's been there. So I think you got to look at that and you got to see, okay, what difference is that going to make on the field? And I think by having Lachie Neale in there, it's definitely going to happen.
I mean, it did go wrong for the Giants when they played Phil Davis, their skipper, in 2019. He just couldn't run from the very first bounce, Justin.
And this is... I famously made a very bad call on Lachie Neale last year.
You do that a few times.
I won't doubt him again, but at the same time, this Geelong team is no joke. You've got Tom Atkins that'll be looking right at him, who's smashed the AFL tackles record. He's just a 1% demon. And Geelong are the equal number one team in the competition for tackles, and they're by far the number one team for pressure acts. I mean, if Lachie Neale's showing any sign of vulnerability, Geelong's going to pounce on that.
And these two clubs, I think it's fair to say, alongside Hawthorn, have been probably the most successful modern-day teams in our history so far. So what's been the key to success, do you reckon, Jack?
I think they have a club culture that relies on former players quite well. They like to promote within the ranks, and I think that fosters a sense of community and an ability to continue to draw on past talents and give a sense of continuity, which allows for the next generation to blossom under seasoned leaders without any scandals or things that can really upset the future development of players, as well as just hurt the image in the name of fans as well.
Development and list management is crucial, and culture as well. What about our tips that no one really cares about, but we're going to give them anyway? Jack, start off with you.
Well, I have to go my own team, don't I? But I think it's going to be an awesome, close game. I think it's going to be way, way closer than that qualifying final, and we're about to see an absolute modern classic. It's the first team to 5 flags since 2000. There is so much on the line. I think it's going to be Cats by 6.
Norm Smith?
Norm Smith for me is Sean Manor. We've seen him do it in the VFL Grand Final, which was a loss, but unfortunately had a massive performance in that. Last year's final series, he was mega as well. I think even this year, he's had so many great performances like that Easter Monday Classic we mentioned earlier on the program. So for me, I think it'll be a 20-odd disposal game with a couple goals.
Justin, can't wait for your ones.
Why do you say that?
Very good man.
Oh, okay. Shawnee Manor is built for the big stage, and I think Geelong are built for the big stage. So I've tipped the Cats by 23 points. My best on ground, we talked about him a few times. The run he delivers is it's influential, isn't it? And he comes through the midfield as Max Holmes. I think he's going to have a huge role in the game, especially driving Geelong forward with those big targets that they've got. He'll find a few targets inside 50, maybe get on the end of one. And I think there's a little bit of extra motivation for him after missing out due to the hamstring injury in 2022 and watching from the sidelines, seeing that team lift the cup. So he's got a bit more to play for tomorrow. And
it's good to see Oscar McInerney, the big O, back after dislocating his shoulder in the prelim last year. Darcy Fort played a great role in the grand final last year, but he would have been distraught. You play all year pretty much and you miss out through contact injury, and he played on in that second half and helped them win the game. So can't wait to see the big O there. Jerry?
I'm flipping the switch here. I'm going for Lions. I think Rayner and Bailey both kicked over 35 goals this season. The mid-forwards are going to get the job done, and my Norm Smith is Hugh McCluggage, and the Lions get it done by 2 goals.
He's had a great year, Hugh.
Yeah.
First All-Australian. I mean, well-deserved.
Yeah, he's been knocking on the door the past few seasons, and I think it's just a testament of the hard yards he's put in the past few seasons.
It seems like the runners are, you know, probably the best in the comp these days. You need to be able to run to play great football and kicking as well. You had Max Holmes, McCluggage, he's elite in running. All their young forwards like Gallup and Morris, they can go end to end pretty much. So I think that's a great shout. Matilda?
I reckon it's going to be the Cats. I think going into this, you know, they're going to be hungry for it, but again, like, Brisbane are going to have a good fight. You know, they want that back-to-back. They almost had it in 2023. You know, they could have had a three-peat at this point. But, yeah, I think the Cats are just going to be too strong going into this. And for my Norm Smith, I've picked Dangerfield. Just for the legacy, you know, I think it'll be great to see him get it. And if he played like he did in the prelim, he could have a good chance.
I mean, no one hunts the football as hard as Paddy Dangerfield. I think you say Zach Butters maybe.
Yeah.
Who else?
He draws a lot of free kicks just from the fact that he has such a desire to get the footy in the contest, and people just cling on to him because he's the man at the first to the ball. But I got a question for you that Matilda mentioned. Brisbane are 1 kick away from going for a three-peat. If they lose on Saturday, how do you think they feel about that, going 1 from 3?
I mean, grand finals are pretty tough to win, aren't they? So, I mean, yeah, that 2023 grand final could have gone both ways. I think they were leading with about 4 minutes to go. So it's really making your opportunities count. You've got to kick straight. It's all about those 1%ers and those little moments which could help you win the grand final. There's no doubt about that. For me, I think the Cats, they were just way too impressive last week in the prelim. Really flown under the radar a little bit, Jack, I think it's fair to say.
I think the soft draw towards the end of the season had some people doubting a team that was very, very good against the top 8 sides at the first half of the season. They're very, very deep, as we've mentioned before, and I think that they now have a reliance not just on their old guns, but also the new crop of youth, such as Max Holmes, or even their rising star candidate, Connor O'Sullivan, and winner last year of Oliver Dempsey.
I've got Tom Atkins to win the Norm Smith medal. I just think he's flying under the radar a lot as well. I thought he was fantastic in that prelim final. He's one of, you know, he's a teammate where you go to war with pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. He's won the Best Clubman Award so many times at the Cattery, and I think that's just indicative of the fact he's always trying his best. Even when the Cats lower their colours, he does not. And he did such an awesome job on Newcombe last week, who was flying so hot through the final series. He does a lot for this team and releases a lot of pressure on the runners in Holmes and Smith as well. Yeah,
I think he's a bit of a barometer for the club, but I mean, what a show that was. I mean, AFL Grand Final show on the sports desk on Channel 31. It doesn't really get much better than that. Before we end our show, we'd like to give a massive thanks to the RMIT TV crew, production crew, and Channel 31. Without your support and expertise behind the scenes, I mean, I think it's fair to say there wouldn't be a show, right, guys?
That's it.
So cannot wait for the big dance, and thank you so much for your company. You've been on the AFL Grand Final show of the Sports Desk, and may the best team win on the last day of September. See you next time.